Bridgeland School site proposed redevelopment involved the redesignation of a parcel of land in the community of Bridgeland from a special purpose community institution district to a multi-residential, contextual, low-profile site. The site is currently occupied by Delta West Academy, a private school for grades K to 12. The redevelopment would have allowed for the construction of residential condominiums and townhouses with intent to preserve the 1921 school, a heritage site, through incorporation of the original building into the development. Recently, the project was cancelled and all related applications have been withdrawn, yet community members remain concerned that future development will be attempted. When the City of Calgary sold the school to Delta West 10 years ago, community members raised concerns about the land parcel being rezoned and redeveloped. Given Bridgeland's aims to appeal to a younger family demographic, the community felt the school acted as an element of attraction. The community also lacked general K-12 schools, and alternative options were limited to specialty schools. To appease the worries of the community, the city gave written assurance that the land would be preserved as a school zone. Fast forward 8 years, the Bridgeland CA was comprised of developers and planners who did not necessarily share the concerns of some of the more vocal community members. As a result, the CA was not particularly vocal when Minto proposed the redevelopment of the land parcel. However, passionate community members had created groups opposing the project. The CA eventually underwent changes to its administration in the aims of representing the concerns of the community. The dynamics of the situation are complicated, as the stakeholders involved have changed over the 10-year period. In addition, the proposed development was consistent with the goals of the MDP. Furthermore, the city's perspective believes it has done its due diligence to involve the public through the stages of the planning process, while the community believes more inclusion should have been facilitated.
So in Bridgeland's case, once the city sent out notification to some immediately adjacent residents, we then also had a notice posting board on the site that indicated what information was being presented. So then the citizens actually arranged their own public meeting and then invited me to that to answer some questions about process or about general planning. I explained a little bit about the planning process to them as far as when they have the opportunity to engage with the city. And then from there, we created basically open line of communication with some of the residents. There was a big change as far as people understanding at least where the city was coming from after engagement and understanding a bit more about how the planning process works, where someone always has the opportunity to bring in an application to change the land use and proposed development. Now, the proposal went through some changes. So as part of the process, we actually had them submit a development permit concurrently with the land use. So that way then people could see exactly what was being proposed. The developer agreed to then add in some community type uses such as childcare. We have a standard way of describing, it's going from a particular land use district to another land use district. So we did repost that notice again and extended it and clarified what was going to be built there.
These are the notices Mr. Small mentioned, which outlined the redevelopment, including the initial land use bylaw amendment. The city took measures to engage with the community and to allow discourse between the CA and the developer, particularly through examples such as surveys and the open houses hosted by the developer, the city, and the CA. Sean felt that the understanding on both sides was substantially increased. However, the CA felt that although communication was increased, it wasn't enough to truly recognize and accommodate the desires of the community, especially given the perception that residents were assured the school's protection.
Communication process is what really got people engaged, and that's when we realized that there was bigger issues. We engaged different media. And we engaged our counselor in the office, City Hall. We started a letter writing campaign. We started Facebook because we wanted our community members to know. And we held our own open house, of which we reached out, and that's when it started to get some legs and people started to understand. We wanted to keep it open. It wasn't just about stopping a redevelopment, it was about the process. That's when our counselor started to give us time. He met with us one-on-one. And then he also worked with the developer and really pushed them to engage more. And once the city got involved with the city held open house, the city itself engaged very well in terms of putting out emails and signage and all of those things and organizing it. The actual open house wasn't great, but they did engage the community in terms of
It seems as though the city was doing its due diligence to inform and provide opportunities for the community to participate and voice concerns throughout the development process. Unfortunately, the CAA at the time, who was later replaced, was said to not have accurately represented the goals of the community. From an enlightened understanding perspective, there is no way that either side could have had enough information due to communication disconnect for a substantial period of time. Furthermore, the attempts to include the community and allow effective participation would have been rendered less efficient than had the initial community association been comprised of more representative members. Generally speaking, it seems, at least from Sean's perspective, that the city was active in engaging the planning of the school as a social process. We believe that the project should have been allowed to proceed on the grounds that the city provided numerous opportunities for the community members and the CA to become involved in the process. Furthermore, the school was privately owned, not a public service. That is, the community was not entitled to the schooling service provided by Delta West. They enrolled by choice and privilege. In addition, the city accommodated smaller community concerns, such as the protection of the green space and preservation of the building as a historic site.